We are not
Five Nights at Freddy's can be a simple game if you choose to play it that way. Little do many people know that the story is way deeper than what it might portray on the surface. Listening closely to Phone Guy, reading notes on the wall, and simply just noticing what actions and whereabouts the animatronics take part in can really unravel a much creepier and darker story if you know how to connect the dots. We are going to be breaking down 2 Five Nights at Freddy's fan theories that could very well keep you up at night. Some of these have been confirmed. The Bite of 87. If you didn't know, the Bite of 87 was an incident that occurred in 1987 at the second Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. It was briefly mentioned by Phone Guy in the first game.
They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the Bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe.
The victim of the bite is speculated to be Jeremy Fitzgerald, who was the night guard in the game before he got moved to the day shift, and presumably where he suffered from the incident. The incident contributed to a loss in the company's reputation, which was one of the numerous incidents that resulted in a major drop in business going forward. As a result of the incident, the animatronics were no longer allowed to wander around the building during the day. The management decided to limit their free roaming mode to nighttime to prevent their servos from locking up, as stated by Phone Guy. There was a lot of speculation on which animatronic could have committed the act of violence. Some fans have speculated that Foxy may have been the animatronic responsible for the bite. This is considered most likely by fans because he appears to be the most capable of doing so, with his seemingly sharp and broken teeth. In Foxy's dwelling place, Pirate Cove, there is a sign that reads, "Sorry, out of order," and Foxy himself is in a state of despair, possibly suggesting that the attraction was shut down after the incident. Foxy's jaw also seems to hang loosely, as if it were damaged through excessive force. This theory, however, was debunked. Still, fans speculate that Freddy Fazbear himself was the one who issued the bite. On the posted rules in the East Hall in the original game, one of the rules listed states, "Don't touch Freddy." This rule may have been enacted after the bite. However, it could be because Freddy's is the main attraction, so he represents all the animatronics. There are also 2 instances of faint handprints or hand-shaped impressions on Freddy's face, implying that someone may have been struggling against him in some way. This was denied by the creator, as it was a random texture and the footprints generated themselves. Another popular theory among fans is that Mangle was the cause of the bite, as its jump scare involves it swinging from the ceiling off the office with its jaws open, going straight for the player's head. Upon inspection, it seems that Mangle attacks the upper area of Jeremy's head where the frontal lobe is located. This further strengthens the possibility that Mangle administered the Bite of 87 in a similar fashion to its death screen. This is reinforced by the mention that the new animatronics were being scrapped, something that would be likely to occur if one of them had caused the bite. Another big piece of evidence that Mangle was behind the bite is that it would have a reason to bite a child, as it is known that the animatronic is dismantled daily by kids and that the staff eventually stopped repairing it, leaving it as a take apart and put back together attraction, which could have led it to either hate children, see a child as a potential threat, or otherwise become unstable. This is questionable though, since on the 4th night, Phone Guy states that the animatronics interact with kids just fine, but when they are encountering an adult, they just stare. However, since the actual victim of the bite was never specified, some believe that it wasn't a child at all, and if an adult had received the bite, then it would make sense for the animatronics to respond that way towards adults. The second game seemingly rules out Foxy, as Withered Foxy specifically, as the attacker, as he and the other withered animatronics, including Freddy, were most likely in parts and services when the bite took place. This can also be disproved by the fact that Foxy is still present in the first game. If he had caused the bite, then it would seem very odd for the owners to keep him around. Concluding this evidence up, Mangle seems to be the prime suspect for the bite. However, it is still clearly unknown and still unconfirmed which animatronic in the pizzeria did it. Who do you think caused this incident? Missing 5 children.
Can you see me?
One thing that fans speculate about is how the animatronics are moving around. A few years prior to the main events of the game, 5 children were reported to have disappeared in the restaurant. According to the authorities, the children were lured into the back room by a man disguised as one of the mascots, most likely Golden Freddy, and were then presumably murdered. The man was later arrested, but the bodies of the children were never found. Later on, a few parents posted complaints to the health board that stated that the animatronics were emitting foul smells and that blood and mucus was leaking from the animatronics' eyes and mouths. It is thus implied that the children were stuffed into the suits after they were murdered by the imposter. It is also implied that the animatronics tried to hunt down the security guard because they believed that he was the person who murdered them. A few things that are supporting this idea is that the animatronics are possessed by the slain children, that includes their screams and laughters. For example, if one were to listen to the full scream that the animatronics emit, one would notice that the screams sound eerily like a child's scream. Freddy's demonic laugh is also actually a little girl's laugh slowed down 100 times. If it is indeed true that a murderer lured 5 children into the bathroom to murder them, then one must ask, who is the murderer? There isn't anything official about the killer as of right now, but what is commonly accepted by the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom is that the children's murderer was most likely a former security guard. The reason for this assumption is that the killer seemingly had access to the back room and to Freddy Fazbear's costume. The police did arrest the man, but the identity of the man was never released. In a recent interview with Scott Cawthon, the video game's creator, he has stated that either the phone guy or Michael Smith were involved in the missing children incident. What is even more absurd than what I said before is that the animatronics themselves murdered the children, and that the managers of the pizzeria shifted the blame on a completely innocent person. The most solid theory is the one that William Afton from the novel, who gets in an animatronic mask and lures the kids to a secret back room and then kills them, but he leaves the bodies. This theory is the one that had been confirmed. It's so crazy to think that Five Nights at Freddy's is way deeper than a random kid or guy hiding from these creepy animatronics. And there are way more fan theories out there that make a lot of sense. Let me know down below if you want to hear more fan theories, and don't forget to subscribe. AK out.